Welcome to yet another edition of Africa Discourse. I am Wilson Marshall. Today is still all about coronavirus, but the ways affecting Africa as a country. This time around, we're focusing on the debt relief for poorest of the poor, so to speak, African nation by the IMF and World Bank. Many have been talking about this, and they are saying you don't need to give only 19 countries in Africa. We have many poor countries in Africa. Even our own country, Nigeria, is on asking for debt relief. Yeah, but IMF, according to a report, said that Nigeria is not on the list. But China and, of course, G20 are considering adding Nigeria to their own list, not to the IMF list. Now, people are asking if this relief are being given in form of, money converted to the monetary aspect of buying kits and equipment to fight coronavirus, will not be another means of some of our African leaders to enrich themselves. Yeah, people are saying that Africa has been riddled with misappropriation, corruption, you just name it, that we lack good managers. Hence, we are indebted to so many bodies globally. And this may interest you to know that the debt profile of Africa is going towards trillions of dollars, yes. That if you sum up all of it, trillions, and it just keeps on going on. And now with the COVID-19 pandemic by the corner, do you think this is the right step for them to really help out Africa? Mind you, Ghana, they've okayed at least, $1 billion, so to speak, loan for them to really fight COVID-19, because they've been able to carry out close to 38,000 plus tests. And from their cases as at 17th of April, 1,047 or 48 or thereabouts. That is confirmed cases, recovery cases, and at 99, not up to 100. People are like wondering what is really happening in Nigeria. You know the story. 627. Yeah, that is confirmed cases. 21 for the number of deaths, and of course above 160 recovery cases, and we are still fighting this pandemic. But be here in the studio to talk about this debt relief aspect. He is a clergyman, he is a lecturer, he is a political analyst. Join me to welcome Honorable Comrade Frank Amego. Welcome to the show.
Namaste. It's a pleasure being here this afternoon.
All right, here we are. In place of the pandemic ravaging the globe, yes, Africans, they are crying, IMF, please pardon our debt. If possible, cancel it. If possible, extend the months or the years of paying back. How do you really view this, knowing fully well that 2 African nations are just the ones exempted from being infected by coronavirus, Comoros and Lesotho? Okay. Take it up from there.
Good. The coronavirus is like an east wind that blows no good. But as come, the next step to take is what we are doing now. And there's no point pretending about it. The way the African continent is, if you check the map of Africa, it's so strategic and symbolic. If you see the map, the way Nigeria is located on the map of Africa, Nigeria is like the trigger part of the gun. So Africa is a major market for the full globe. So other continents that appear richer than Africa will now see a situation like this as we have it now, COVID-19 pandemic, that if they don't even come to the rescue, apart from African presidents going to ask for a relief or cancellation of such loans, they too on their own. For instance, the World Bank has predicted that Africa will need not less than $100 billion to recover from this pandemic. So out of the 25 countries listed to benefit or to get access to this relief or cancellation of debt, Africa has 19, just 6 out of the 25. That goes to show that we have a lot of challenges. I, for one, I will seriously support the idea of other bodies, IMF, World Bank, coming to rescue Africa. More so, we have series of challenges. Like Nigeria, for instance, we commonly depend on crude and some other minerals, Angola and also South Africa. So now we cannot export, or the price of crude has crashed. So it becomes so obvious that help is needed. And along the line also we'll observe that the poor funding of our health facilities and their various personnel will go a long way to ask for help from outside. It's getting more obvious that little or no fund was channeled towards the health sector. So if, for instance, Africa is a marketplace, and you have your goods and services to bring to Africa, and there are no more Africans, in other words, the effort will be in futility. So the World Bank, IMF, they have done so well to give us this relief, whether cancellation or relief. And also to give kudos to the AU chair, the president of South Africa. Cyril, yes. He constituted a four-man body to help us negotiate with IMF and World Bank. And interestingly, one of our own, Okonjo-Iweala, is there, and some other persons, former finance minister of South Africa, and the rest, they are four together. So what is needed now is for us all as a continent to look inwards. God helping us, we'll survive this pandemic. But the fear is not survivor. The fear is what happens when COVID-19 is gone.
We're coming to that.
Yes.
We are coming to that. Now, people like saying the 19 countries from Africa. After all, Africa comprises of 52 countries. Yes. We can call them African states if you want to call them that. That 19 is just so small, knowing fully well that we have lots of African countries that are suffering even before the advent of COVID-19. Why not add up these other countries to these 19 countries you already have on your list? For instance, Nigeria also is asking for a relief, but Nigeria's name isn't there. I thank God for China. Say, okay, fine. G20 also said, Nigeria, not to worry, we'll look into your case. But IMF and of course the World Bank, they said Nigeria is not worthy to be in that list. Are really comfortable about it?
Yes, comfort or no comfort. The first thing, even South Africa will stand a better chance of being enlisted, because the way the virus has ravaged that country is so alarming. If you check the statistics, they're about the worst hit in Africa, and a lot of jobs will be lost. So in Nigeria, for instance, I'm not a prophet of doom to say that the number is going to further escalate. Reason being that we are just coming up with more testing centers. So the more testing centers we have, the more we're able to pin down the number of individuals that will be positive. It's just like you just say, are you hypertensive? I say, I'm not. How would you know that you are hypertensive or not? Until and unless we'll carry out a check. We'll check your blood pressure, and we'll now do randomly, now discover that out of 100 persons, 80 are hypertensive. And out of the 80 that are appeared hypertensive, only 2 actually knew in ab initio that they were hypertensive. So the more testing centers we have, the more cases that we will have. So that's the only way this relief can be attracted towards Nigeria. If you have no figures, nobody will attend to you. Just like an accident and emergency center of a hospital, for instance, and there are cases. One of the patients is just able to bear the pains, he's not shouting. While the other one that has less injuries is shouting, come on, come on. So doctors and other health personnel will rush in that direction. So we are not asking for more cases, but the more the virus will be tested positive in a nation, the more that nation will attract help. So far so good. They increase the testing centers in Nigeria. There are a lot of more persons that are positive, and they don't even know it. and they have not been tested. Thank God for the government of Edo State that has at last week increased the number of centers for testing. So if that number further shoots up, more persons will be captured. And I pity, in quotes, some states are still having one. And some persons are happy that they have only one case in the state. It's pitiable in the sense that it's a show of that state that they don't have enough testing centers, or they are not afraid to go testing. Just like when HIV/AIDS came in the 80s, people were afraid to test whether they are positive or negative, until it was demystified that once you get tested, you can be treated.
All right.
So the same way we're having Nigeria, the figures we have in Nigeria right now does not call for international help.
Okay, because right now, in terms of Ghana, they've been able to test close to 38,048 samples as at 17th of April.
Yes.
And of course, they have above 1,000 cases of COVID-19. So the IMF okayed the $1 billion grant. Are you now saying that is proportionate or proportional to the number of COVID-19 cases and testing carried out? Is that what IMF is responding to?
Yes, IMF will generally respond to that. It's just a simple analogy. There are two individuals. One says he has not eaten since yesterday, and we're in the afternoon now. And the second person said he has not taken his lunch for today. So the person providing food will first of all attend to the one that has not eaten since yesterday. It's not a good scenario to attract for a grant or relief. But if it becomes obvious, if the positive cases are increasing, of course, help will come. So Nigeria should not by that as is common corruption. Okay, if that's the index of attracting relief or cancellation of debt, okay, you increase the number times 10. So that shouldn't be. If
are some African countries doing it like that, the way you just said, because of the number on their own,
corruption is everywhere.
to attract.
If that is the reason for attraction of help, some people might do it. Like I would have to quote any states now. If you check the statistics for Nigeria, Lagos has been topping, followed by FCT. Some northern countries were down the ladder. Maybe they just felt the more you go up, a country from the north now has overtaken the Edo State. So maybe they rigged it, I don't know.
No, you are not sure of that. You don't have proof of that. So let's jettison it. Yeah, on a lighter note.
Yeah, on a lighter note. So the point is, if you don't tamper with the figures, the more you test, and the more it becomes positive, help will come.
All right. Okay, this may interest you to know that for Nigeria right now, we've been able to carry out the test for 7,132, if not above that, within the range of 7,000 cases. Yeah, that is the test we carried out in Nigeria compared to Ghana, 38,000 and counting. Now, people have the opinion that you giving now this debt relief may lead to corruption, because this is not the first time some African countries that have been cancelled, but eventually they relapse again into that state of indebtedness.
Well, if there's a relief, relief is not equal to cancellation. If you're owing someone, you're supposed to pay today, and for one reason or the other, the person says, okay, pay tomorrow. There's no need to start shouting hallelujah over that, because you're still going to pay that money tomorrow, and tomorrow will surely come. So if there's a relief, it's just for you, because I personally accept the relief or possibly the cancellation, because funds now meant for health is so anemic. So we have to divert funds from other areas to mitigate this pandemic. So if they move money from other sectors to health sector, in other words, those sectors they move money from will now begin to suffer. So there is not enough funding to really attend to the health care needs of the people. So if the government, no matter the international effort in terms of relief or debt cancellation, the various countries should have to make some policies in place. They should be resolute. Relief won't settle anything, ultimately. It's just for you to have some, your blood pressure will be stabilized a little bit. So if they give us relief or debt cancellation, the government of the day for each country should make themselves accountable to the people. on how they spent the money. Like personally, I'm not really comfortable with donations made so far by various religious organizations, individuals. First, where is the purse? Is there a common account where that money went to? What are the strategies for the disbursement? How do you identify that a state will need a particular percentage of that fund or not? Now the World Bank said Africa will need at least $100 billion to recover. They did some work, but Nigeria has not done anything. People are just donating or contributing. Are they contributing to get contracts later on? If the money contributed so far, how much? What are the indices for sharing if they to be shared equitably? Already we are hearing, though I'm not to speculate
yeah,
that some parts of Nigeria, they are already getting their alerts. While some other parts, where a bulk of the money or donations came from, they come on, the phones are down, not about getting alert. So if that becomes the case, we are now even scared of the relief they will give to us. It will be hijacked by a few persons. So the political leaders should make themselves accountable. They should make us trust them. If there's a relief given, then give to the people. Now you are asking for a lockdown. Lockdown is the beginning of the crisis we're having now. More than 80% of Nigerians are adults working. They are in the informal sector. And there's no policy in place, for instance, to provide for them if anything happens. So less than 20% are in the formal sector paid by the government, local, state, or federal. So at this point, you have asked them to stay back at home. To do what?
Okay. All right, now talking about lockdown, it may also interest you to know that Ghana right now, they've chosen to ease their lockdown. That is, they are beginning to reopen the economy gradually. And of course, don't forget the $1 billion that was given to them, also a kind of a loan for them to tackle coronavirus. Because of the aggressive nature, they are really trying to get almost everyone tested. They've gone as far as 38,000 plus and still counting. In Nigeria, 7,000 plus and still counting. Just do the math. South Africa, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, Uganda, they choose to tighten, even extend their lockdown because of what they are seeing, talking about indices. Now, the IMF, they made a prediction talking about recession.
Yes.
That African countries may just delve into recession. You talked about it post COVID-19.
Yes.
Now, with this grant they're giving to Africa, I don't think it's enough to cushion that effect. Or Africa as a continent will be submerged, negatively speaking, economically speaking, when this recession will hit.
So what I see there, the World Bank, in collaboration with the IMF, they have done their calculations to arrive at $100 billion. They know the way Africa is. But the challenge now, when the money arrives or the relief package is brought to Africa, there's no way we're going to rule out possible hijacking. We can't rule out. We know the way we are. We are Nigerians, for instance. Maybe some other African countries may be able to handle it. But we are living in Nigeria, we know what they will likely do. They will bring the relief package. It could be money or materials. But at the end of the day, there will be no trace of it. And nothing happens. A given number of Chinese medical personnel came to Nigeria recently. Where are they domiciled? Who are the patients they are treating? Where are they? So we use our money in Nigeria here to bring them into this country to help solve this problem. Where are they based? Are they in the National Hospital Abuja, in UBTH Benin, or ABUTH in Zaria? Where are they? So if you cannot account for human beings, is it money that you're going to account for? By now, should we be getting reports as to efforts made by the Chinese doctors? There's no report along that line. Instead, the number is skyrocketing. Every day they are giving us reports. In fact, whatever I see on screen, okay, plus how many now? So their accountability is a major challenge. The political leadership of this country, for instance, They don't care the way you feel. It's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. Initially, the NMA, the Nigerian Medical Association, did not subscribe to the importation of the Chinese doctors. Before you know what's happening, they arrived Abuja against, let me say, against medical advice. They arrived, they don't care about you. It's what they want to do, that's what they do.
Are you saying that accountability may become the problem if this relief or cancellation is granted by IMF to these 19 African countries? Is that what you're saying right
Yes.
now?
The 19 African countries, I may not know the way their leadership will operate. That's why I'm using Nigeria as a case study.
But Ghana is one of them.
Ghana,
yeah. 1 billion already.
In terms of corruption level, Ghana is down the ladder. Nigeria is higher up in terms of corruption. So Ghana may want to do the right thing. They have so much in terms of those that tested positive, because testing centers were readily made available. It's of recent here we are hearing testing centers. One of our broadcasts here, I was wondering, I asked a question, that where are these testing centers? Those we have seen testing positive are rich people. In other words, it's made or meant for the rich. Until my mind was disabused by the state governor of Edo State, that there are more testing centers. Even one close by here, St. Philomena Hospital. So, you don't make all these things transparent. The people you are leading will suspect you even when you are right or doing the right thing. So, I don't trust African leadership all put together. For the IMF, World Bank to come up with such laudable ideas, how do we come out of recession? Of course, recession is imminent. It's imminent. So how do we come out of the recession? And such an amount has been set aside. So if we are asking emotionally, Nigeria should be part of it. Well, good and bad. Good in the sense that if they use it well. It becomes very bad if that money is diverted.
Okay. Now, you talked about the Chinese, because right now, China government and, of course, the G20 haven't seen that IMF didn't include Nigeria into the debt relief / cancellation package. They promised to take care of Nigeria and some other African country. Should we start smiling about this?
Well, China should actually be begged by other nations of the world outside Africa, because China is a major lending country to African countries. So if China says there's a relief, we should be very happy, because most of the African countries, they borrow from China. So China is a big brother now, they should come to the rescue. But my fear is still the management of such a relief. They will bring it. It will be difficult for them. They are more transparent than most of the African leaders. So once such fund is released, I will tell you now that Nigeria does not have a blueprint on how that money will be used. There is nothing like that. If they have it, by now we would have been hearing it on the radio, TV, reading from the page of the newspaper, on the internet. There is nothing they're going to use that for.
But they are saying that this to combat, or will I say, to caution the effect of COVID-19, of coronavirus, ravaging the economy, ravaging almost every aspect of the country.
That's a journalistic report. You want to cushion any effect is just on the paper, in the sense that you want to give relief. You see a miserable cellophane bag. That is what I'm giving to this family. If you check the content of that bag, cannot take a family of father, mother, and 2 children fall together for 2 days. And to you are through with them until we are done with COVID-19. You can't give such a pack. I see them on the screen. Still on social media, you see some countries having bags of food items. Some, you hear a knock on your door, you open, you see things by the doorpost. So Nigerian government is not sincere in this point. There's going to be relief. There's no relief. The most annoying part of it, initially they reduced the pump price of petrol, for instance. Then the following day they complied. The second reduction, everybody ignored, all the petrol dealers ignored them, including the mega stations. They ignore the federal government. Because they already know that the government is not being sincere. You reduce the price, they obeyed. For that reduction, you didn't call them into that. And they have bought some product at the previous high price. How would they just crash it? At their own expense? No. So the government is not, there's no relief package. For instance, is your call that you make, you buy your airtime, the same price.
All right.
You are buying anything, in fact, the price has even skyrocketed. So there's no relief. We would they tell this scope, can't any relief entering Nigeria.
Okay, many people may have different opinions from yours. Now,
maybe you have, I don't have.
Well, before call it a wrap on this show, because it's an abridged version,
yes.
Some pundits have the opinion that with this relief coming from IMF, World Bank, China, G20 to African countries, that somewhere along the line, it's like they are beginning to have a larger chunk of Africa in their pockets. How true is that?
Yes, the person that is feeding you should have control over you. The person that is clothing you, housing you, should have some level of influence. But it's the situation we have found ourselves. We need help. So at the point that we need help, we should also have some guiding principles. At times you hear a beggar has no choice. Some other times you hear a beggar has a choice. So Nigeria or Africa now should be a beggar with a choice. So in as much as they want to help us, does not mean we're going to sell our birthright as Esau did. So what the government of the day in Africa should be thinking of, I'm so happy about the AU chair, the South African president. That president is doing so well. As he's doing so well in his country, the same way he's able to coordinate the African continent. So I'm sure when that relief comes finally, the AU will look into it and see to the judicious use of such funds.
Right.
Because such funds, it does not necessarily mean it's a gift. They might tell you, okay, hold this one first. When you are buoyant, return it.
All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate your wonderful analysis. People are still asking, is this relief a Trojan horse? You know, the Greek Trojan War, when you collect the gift, what happens to your country? Will this make Africa to be more indebted to the IMF, the World Bank, the G20, China? You just name it. Or is it a way out of the projected recession that pundits have said will hit the world and Africa specifically after COVID-19? Ours is to report back to you. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate your coming.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow, God willing, on International Forum. Bye for now.